searching in the quantum. Hey, hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Will's Way Quantum Podcast. I hope everyone's keeping blessed. How is everybody feeling? I want to know how you're feeling. Get at me on my socials, baby. I'm feeling good today. I've got a new morning routine and I'm really sort of just feeling really like proper passionate about this podcast recently. So thank you for everyone who's supporting it. We hit over 250 downloads. Come on, B. I just want to say I'm really overwhelmed actually because I've been doing this now for about 1 week over a month. So this is the 5th podcast. I've been releasing podcasts every single week. And do you know what? I don't know what it was before I started the podcast. I felt really like I didn't know if it was something I should have done, and I had this weird not fear, but this weird procrastination about just doing it. And I'm just so happy I just jumped in and didn't really know, because I said in the first podcast I'm just going to sort of see what happens. And now I kind of feel I just have this information that's just flowing, and I just sort of know what to do and know what to cover. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's listening. I just honestly, I can't even explain to you guys how blessed I feel right now. But I mean, I think really what I wanted to do today is talk about real beginner's guide to meditation. Because recently, ever since lockdown actually, I've upped my meditation game. And it's funny that sometimes when you have to force yourself to do stuff, especially circumstances like this, what make you really think about life, it makes you actually improve in a way. Because I've been, my exercise regime has actually gone up because I've got more time. My meditation has actually got more improved, if you know what I mean. I'm really sort of reaching incredible feelings inside about meditation. I'm really getting into that quantum space where I'm just feeling so good. So I really wanted to do a beginner's podcast, because I feel like meditation sometimes, a lot of people can see it as quite a mystical thing. And some people think that they can't really tap into it or do it because it's too far out their reach, which is not true. Anyone can practice this, and it doesn't really matter where you're at in terms of a spiritual scale. Anyone can practice meditation, whether it's even 2 minutes per day, 1 minute per day, or a full half an hour in the morning. And, you can fit it in your life, and you can create a schedule that works around you. A lot of people feel like meditation is something that is too hard to get into or get involved with. So I'm hoping this podcast can really sort of open your eyes up to, maybe giving it a go and trying it. Because I feel a lot of the time, until we try something, how do we really know the benefit of it, if you know what I mean? If we've never had the metric and measuring of what we do, if we've never experienced something, how can we actually place our judgment on it? And we have these preconceived judgments a lot, and we're just all human, man. We've all got these preconceived things about circumstances and experiences that we've never had, you know what I mean? And it's just preconceived programming from our subconscious about other people sort of putting that experience onto you in terms of what they've said. And a lot of the time meditation can be very sort of very spiritual and all this type of thing, but the fact is it can help you massively. And now I'm going to go over 12 science-based benefits of meditation. And you need a reason why, because at the end of the day, you're not going to employ this technique in terms of having it a part of your values if you don't really know or see the benefits of it. So I've got actual science-based facts now. So I'm going to go through 12 of these facts, and then afterwards we're going to go through the 5 stages of setting yourself up to meditate, and the complete beginner's version. You know what I mean? No advance here, just to give you some advice in terms of when I started and what helped me. And what will happen is you just got to start, I feel. Because a lot of the time you're not going to be an expert at day 1 or even after the first week. Meditation is something practiced over a long period of time. But as soon as you start, you'll start to feel the benefit. And the better you feel, the more likely you are to do more. You know what I mean? And then the more you do, the more you'll learn, and the more you'll attract in terms of how to do it a little bit more effectively. And you'll start to go down this road where, gradually over time, it starts to have really profound effects in your life. But obviously we've got to start somewhere. We can't just expect to meditate one day and then be manifesting all this beautiful stuff the next day, like we talked about in the previous podcast. It's got to be something that's done every single day. But do you know what? It's not just about manifestation in terms of bringing new experiences in your life. It's also about reducing a lot of stress and anxieties, and really sort of like recentering with like your purpose in terms of who you are as a person and your real essence. And like when you can recenter to that, your body can do some incredible things. It can really heal itself in incredible ways, and you can really start to take off a lot of emotional karmic debt that you've got building up inside of your body over years and years of like not depression but stored up anxieties that in your subconscious part of your brain. You can really sort of access that part, and you can really sort of relieve these parts, you know what I mean? So we're going to go through 12 science-based benefits of meditation, and this is taken from healthline.com. So I'm going to quickly go through these because I feel like you need to know the benefits in terms of facts and figures. Like us human beings are very like, you know, we're very dubious. You think, oh, you know, we really need facts and figures, and do you know what? We need statistics, man. So like I've actually gone out and found some good information to give you a good reason why, because there's no point in trying to say like let's do this if you haven't got a good why. And it's like goal setting really, like until you actually really have a good why, you're never going to carry out the goals. You're never going to really work hard enough to achieve them if you haven't got a big enough why. So hopefully these 12 base facts from Healthline can give you a good enough reason to maybe start, and you may see some correlations in terms of what it can benefit in your life and what you're possibly struggling with, and then it can get you like, all right, the kick up the bum you need just to say, right, let's get going. So then after this I'll go through 5 steps of like just doing it, the implementation stages. Really, I think the important thing is just start. Do you know what I mean? And don't worry if you're doing it right or wrong. Like we've got this horrible self-conscious like programming, like mistakes are wrong, and it comes from school where we're so like, you know, we don't want to make no mistakes, we want to do everything right first time, but the fact is we can't until we, you know, get things wrong. You know, we can't understand how to get them right. So let's go through these 12 science-based facts, and we're going to real whiz through these. So number 1, it reduces stress. So it's one of the most common causes why people try meditation. Mental and physical stress can have increased levels of a stress hormone called cortisol, and this produces real harmful effects of stress inside of your body that really creates this fight or flight syndrome to get your body going into shock. Like extended like ways of actually living in this way can really have bad health implications, because energy is stored up to try to fight off this stress of fight and flight, and it then leaves your immune system exposed as well. So like one of the main reasons people do it is to reduce that stress and take control of their body in terms of what they are. So in an 8-week study, they found that meditation called mindfulness meditation reduced an inflammatory response caused by stress to a high percentage in 18 students over a whole period of 3 weeks, and 80% of them had a complete reduction in horrible inflammatory responses, and these people were fairly unwell as well. So this study was taken out via Healthline as well. So yeah, another real fact there, that these people, they had to prolong with it. They had to go over a 3-week program, but when they did, they really reduced the inflammatory response in their body, which is a proven technique in terms of a correlation between stress and an inflammatory hormone called cortisol, which was reduced massively. So a lot of people are living in this stressful area without even knowing. And a lot of the time you need to be self-aware. Are you stressed or not? And a lot of the time you will tell yourself you're not. And this is where I was when I was on my old job, where I kept telling myself, no, I'm not stressed, everything's okay. But my body was still tense, you know what I mean? And I could have really done with meditation right then. It would have really reduced that stress I had in my body. Right, so number 2, it controls anxiety, and anxiety is really like related to stress as well. But anxiety, I feel like, is more of like feeling out of control of events. And a lot of the time we can worry about money, we can worry about what's going to happen, especially like this time in lockdown, understanding where the economy is going to be, and there's a lot of like anxiety around it. But what it can do is actually really recenter you back to the place where you feel in control of your life. Because remember, our thoughts, our actions, our intentions create the life that we live. So when we start to understand that and get more in tune with our true essence, we understand that we have the control over our life, which means that we don't need to be stressed because we have the control in terms of what we create. A lot of the time we feel like our environment is so volatile, and it's such a like area where we can't, oh, this happens, we're so out of control. But remember, when we bring that control back to us in terms of us being the creator, it reduces that anxiety massively. And what meditation does, it actually teaches you how to become this creator. It actually gives you that power back in terms of saying, right, like the external events I can't control, but I can be at peace with that. But what I can control is my inner state. So it really, really helps lower that anxiety. And then there's another larger study in 2,400 participants also showed that different meditation strategies reduce anxiety levels up to 80%. And that's a high number for that, but it was obviously done over a whole month again. So you have to remember, it has to be done over a certain period of time to get over that subconscious automatic programming of saying, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? It has to be done at least over 2 weeks to see any results. So remember, when you start this, guys, you may not see results for a while, but you have to keep with it. You know what I mean? So number 3, it promotes emotional health. Right, one study followed 18 volunteers as they practiced meditation over 3 years. The study found that participants experienced long-term decreases in depression, and these volunteers were found to be clinically depressed and didn't really find much purpose in their life. And guys, if you want to see this, like, the studies are actually out there on healthline.com. If you type in healthline.com meditation, you'll be able to see this, and you'll be able to see each study as well, which is hyperlinked in everything I'm reading here. So if you want to go into a bit more detail, I'm just sort of picking out the key points to each one and then just displaying it in the podcast. But by all means, try to research it if you want to look more deeply into this, because these studies are actually proven. So yeah, that emotional health side of things really does help. You know, some forms of meditation can improve depression and create more of a positive outlook on life. And I think this is the thing, like, when we're sort of almost in that mass mind, that fearful zone, when we're watching a lot of news and a lot of media, and there's a lot of like doom and gloom on the news, and like there's always something negative that almost programs us to be like really like doom and gloom and like always really in that fearful protective state. You know what I mean? What meditation does, it blocks that out and it starts to give us the power back to be part of our own nature, which is not really defined by fear. Our own nature is like almost, you know, our own actual nature itself. The divine nature is really positive and creative. We're divine beings, man. We're here to create, not be in fear. And what happens when we're in fear? We contract and we go into survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, all of our energies pented up in the lower vibrational energies, so we can't really create anything. So, you know, it promotes that side of us as well, and it really can decrease that depressive state to have a look more of a positive outlook on life. 4, enhances self-awareness. So some forms of meditation may help you develop stronger understanding of you. You know what I mean? And self-awareness is so important. Like it is so important to be able to find ourselves, you know what I mean, to recenter to us, because each and every single one of us has this innate being inside of us that is unique to us, which is our dharma, our purpose, right? A lot of the time I feel, you know, when we're growing up, we start to have aims and ambitions to be able to chase a lot of things. And what can sometimes happen in that, we can lose ourselves in terms of who we really are and what we really want. And it's so important to be able to be self-aware, to understand your feelings and emotions and say, you know, am I actually really happy right now? Does this serve me, what I'm doing right now? And meditation, be able to enhance your self-awareness to where you're at in life and what your purpose is. And if you're not on the right path, it can give you that spiritual awakening to say, whoa, man, what the hell am I doing? I need to step back on the right path. Right, so other forms teach you to recognize thoughts that may be harmful or self-destructive or self-defeating. So sometimes our dialogue with ourselves can be really sort of harsh. You know, if you can, you know, we've all got a voice in our head sometimes, and a lot of the time it's a very negative one that almost sort of always tells us off. You know what I mean? Or it's really degrading. It's like your worst enemy. Do you know what I mean? But like, if you can like gain greater awareness of yourself and your thought habits, you can steer them more to a constructive patterns. And that, for law of attraction, is so important, because when we can start to think more positively, you know, it has a profound effect on our environment. So that self-awareness is so key in terms of understand where we're at in life and steering us into the right direction. Number 5 is it lengthens our attention span. And this is so crucial, because you know how it is sometimes when we're doing tasks that don't generally, you know, a lot of jobs and businesses and like what we do will have core elements in terms of income generating tasks that bring the money in, but then we'll have other tasks that ain't so like attractive to be able to carry out. And at the start of any business, most likely you'll be doing this stuff because you can't really afford to get someone else to do it. At some point you'll be able to leverage it, but you need to get a certain point of success before you get there. So starting any business can be really time consuming, and what it does, it lengthens our attention span to be able to carry out the menial tasks that we have to do and get them done. Do you know what I mean? And that study is honestly so important for us to be able to understand, because until we can start carrying out these actions, we're never going to get to the end goal. You know what I mean? So, for example, a study looked at the effects of an 8-week mindfulness meditation course, and it found it improved participants' ability to reorientate and maintain their attention. A similar study showed that human resource workers who regularly practice mindfulness meditation stay focused on the task for longer. So focus is so important. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're doing a task, that's important if you can get it done and you can get it finished, and you can get it done to a high standard every single day, you're going to propel yourself to your dreams, if you know what I mean. Right, 6, may reduce age-related memory loss. Okay, so this is quite interesting. Improvements in attention can clarify thinking and help your mind keep young. You know what I mean? Your mind's so important, because the thing is, we can't see the physical aging of our mind. Like, we can see the physical aging of our body, and like, for example, when we start to fall out of line with our values in terms of our body, we can see it. It's physical. We look in the mirror, we can see it. We're putting on weight if we're not doing enough exercise, and it's like an alarm bell or a signal to say, right, let's go out running, let's do some more weights, let's get more in shape. Right, you know, the thing is, with the brain, we can't see that physical aspect, and generally what happens, like, towards later on in life, it'll affect us then, but there's no going back and repair. Like, you know, the thing is, we have to keep the brain engaged and we have to keep it working. It's like the brain is a muscle, you know what I mean? And I think, you know, every single day, if you're not flexing your brain in terms of challenging it, if you know what I mean, to a degree, in terms of keeping it alert and peak, and you know, really, I think a lot of the time, a lot of our process every day, if they're very repetitive and then they're not different, your brain can get into this habit of just keeping things the same, and it's not really flexing its muscle as it should do. So like, what meditation can do, it can really quiet all your thoughts down, and it can really like maintain, like, it's like almost rest for your brain, because even think, when you're even sleeping, your brain's still working as well, and it goes through these different states of different states of delta brainwave frequencies, but when you're asleep, it still is working. So like, meditation sometimes can even shut the brain down temporarily, if you know what I mean, and like, all the thoughts and all of the feelings can sort of be put to one side, and you can really just let it regenerate to a beautiful way. So let's have a look at these studies. Furthermore, a review of 12 studies found that multiple meditation styles increased attention, memory and mental quickness in older volunteers. In addition to fighting normal age-related memory loss, meditation can at least partially improve memory in patients with dementia. It can also control stress and improve coping with these caring for family members with dementia as well. So yeah, people actually dealing with that. And dementia must be horrible. Like, I've never experienced it myself, but if you can imagine like caring for someone you love, like your grandmother or, you know, your grandfather, and them losing who they are in terms of their memory, it's like losing somebody, I can imagine. So, you know, like, we've got this responsibility to be able to look after our brains now, and it's a bit like the whole, you know what I mean, we've got to be able to care for it, because right now we may not see any benefit, but the reality is, if we want a long life and we want longevity in terms of the way we think and feel, and like, I feel like as you grow older, you grow wiser. So like, you know, we've got to be able to look after our bodies and our mind for the future as well. So number 7, it can generate kindness. Now this is another incredible one. Like, some types of meditation may particularly increase positive feelings and actions towards yourself and others. Metta, a type of meditation, is also known as loving kindness meditation. It begins with developing kind thoughts and feelings towards yourself, which is a self-love meditation. This is so important, because our conversation we have on a daily generally is a negative one, and self-love is so important in terms of reprogramming that part of our brain to say that we're worthy and we're worth more in life. And until we start to change that part of our brain in terms of subconsciously, we cannot actually move to the next stage in terms of receivership, in terms of what the universe gives to us, because remember, the universe will only give what we know what we're worth subconsciously. So we need to be able to generate that kindness towards us, and when we get that self-love, we then project it towards others. Remember, kindness to others always starts with yourself. Generally, if you don't like yourself, you'll be more likely to portray that to others. Remember, that's where the root of all unkindness comes from. It comes from the lack of self-love for you, because the more you love yourself, the more you'll see yourself as a one being, a universal being for everyone, as the same as an equal being, then the more love you'll give other people. But it starts with you. So if you want to be like nicer to other people, the first place starts with yourself. And generally, like, this study also shows that 100 adults randomly assigned to a program that included loving kindness meditation found the benefits were dose dependent, which meant the more they did, the more they felt more love for themselves, and the more happier they felt inside in terms of happiness, and the more they helped other people on a daily basis as well. The more they felt like they wanted to help other people. And this is another thing, and we all know the laws of karma. The more you help other people, the more that comes around to you, man. This is like a cycle. So what an incredible like tip, you know what I mean? Like, generating kindness can help you in so many ways. But do you know what? The more we generate this kindness across the world, and the more people that do it and practice it, the world becomes a better place. So it's not even about you, it's about the world on a whole as well. Number 8, may fight addiction. So yeah, the mental discipline that you develop through meditation can help you break through dependencies in your life by increasing your self-control and awareness of triggers of addictive behavior. So the triggers is the key word there. Generally we'll have a trigger, which can be stress, which is probably the number one trigger that makes us all go do them things that we don't want to do to relieve the pain. We want to get away from that pain as quick as possible. So people will draw for the cigarettes, they'll draw for the food, they'll draw for the things that gives them that quick dopamine reflex to say, I need to get out of this situation. But then all of a sudden, like, we're back after, that reflex has gone, and that pleasure has been fleeted away and it's gone. We'll be back in that pain, which will lead us back again to be able to do the same thing again and again and again. And this pleasure pain complex is like an up and down cycle of craziness, really. We want to be in the middle line where we're content. We don't have to keep relieving ourselves of the pain. Do you know what I mean? And what meditation does, it increases that mental discipline. Because when you meditate, you need to have a lot of mental discipline to be able to stay still, really relieve your thoughts, and you have to have that discipline to be able to sort of carry it through. So this is, like I say, guys, a really long process. Please don't just think, it's not working for me 2 days. Like, really try to start slowly in small amounts and gradually build it up to where you've got to go. So one study taught that 19 recovering alcoholics how to meditate, and they found that participants who received the training got better at controlling their cravings, and they didn't relapse afterwards. So a lot of people know, anyone's had addictions out there. I've had addictions in the past. I used to be a smoker, and they're extremely difficult to, smoking is a habit which is very difficult for me to kick. I tried years upon years, but it comes to the point in place where you're like, no, I need my life to change now. I want to become more healthy, and you'll have your big reasons why. And I had kids, and I don't want them to see me smoking, and do you know what I mean? I just had a big reason why, and the pain for me at the time to smoke was bigger. Do you know what I mean? And bigger than the outcome, so I had to give it up. But what meditation, at that time I wasn't really meditating properly either, so it would have helped massively to be able to increase that discipline for me to be able to give up as well. It also may help control food cravings, man. A review said that 14 studies found mindfulness meditation helped participants reduce emotional binge eating. And we all, I fall victim of that, I think we all do as human beings when we're a little bit stressed, or, we just want that sugar rush or something to take us away temporarily. And what meditation can do in terms of focusing on breathing. Even for example, you feel a craving and you just take 4 deep breaths, and you just sort of center yourself, that can really work well as well. Do you know what I mean? And that is also a part of meditation, a very, very tactical one as well, to stop you from doing things you don't want to do. Improve sleep. So nearly half the population will struggle with insomnia at some point. How crazy is that? Half of us on this planet will struggle to sleep. Oh my God, crazy. One study compared to 2 mindfulness-based meditation programs by randomly assigning participants to one of 2 groups. One group practiced meditation while the other one didn't. Participants who meditated fell asleep sooner and stayed asleep longer compared to those who didn't meditate. And you know what? I can be an advocate for this, because at night time I meditate, and I meditate in the morning, but at the night time it's a little bit different. I put headphones on and it's very guided meditation. I'm laying down and it's sort of one that calms me into sleep, and it sort of programs my subconscious brain. Whereas the morning I have more control over what I'm sort of thinking and doing in terms of what I do, but we'll go through that later. But in the evening, I find now if I don't meditate and I have the guided meditation on for me, I'll find it a lot more difficult to sleep. Whereas the other meditation, I'll fall asleep and I'll be away within sort of 10 minutes. If you know what I mean, then headphones go off, I'm straight asleep, literally in that state of doziness. I never ever struggle to sleep anymore. It's because my stress is being relieved. There's less thoughts going on around in my head. And as well, this is the thing, don't go on your phone before bed. It's so important. Like, social media is a killer before bed. You don't want to be programming your subconscious just before you sleep with negative news. It has a profound effect on your complete entire life. So, I'm not saying social media is bad. Of course, it's good for spreading good positive messages as well. It's a vehicle. It can either be an asset or liability depending on the way you look at it and who you follow and what you do. But one thing I would say is don't go on social media before you sleep. Try to meditate on something. Try to fill your brain with positive news, like read a book. Like, as well, the blue screen on your phone does not do well for your brain because it programs your brain to stay more alert in terms of information tracking, if you know what I mean. So improving sleep is another huge benefit. 10, controls pain. So wow, your perception of pain is connected to your state of mind, which is so true. Like, the way you perceive things regards how much you feel the pain. Do you know what I mean? Even like elevated stressful conditions, your mind can control that pain. So for example, one study used a functional MRI technique to observe the brain activity of participants that experiencing painful stimuluses. Some participants had gone through 4 days of mindfulness meditation training, while the others had not. The meditating patients showed increased activity in the brain centers known to control pain. Like, knowing how to control the pain, they also reported less sensitivity to the pain because what they're doing, they're focusing their attention not on the pain, on being mindful and centering themselves. So that control element of pain can have a huge effect, because remember, pain is all in the brain. You know what I mean? One larger study looked at the effects of habitual meditation in 3,500 participants. It found that meditation was associated with decreased complaints of chronic and intermittent pain. Because pain, a lot of the pains that alleviate in the body are subconscious outlets for your body as well. Subconscious pains and trauma that's trying to escape through the body as well. So remember, when it's two parts of controlling that. It helps control the pain initially, and it also helps get to the root cause of them pains as well. Number 11, it can decrease the blood pressure. Meditation can also improve physical health by reducing the strain on the heart. Over time, blood pressure makes the heart work harder to pump blood, which can lead to poor heart functioning. High blood pressure also contributes to, atherosclerosis, I can't say that, or narrowing the arteries, which can lead to heart attack and strokes. So it increases like the blood flow and decreases the blood pressure, because blood pressures over time can be a real killer. A lot of, I don't know what the studies are in terms of cardiovascular disease, but it's one of the main killers I think out there. End of the day, your heart is a pump that pumps life around every single organ and every single muscle around your body. So it's so important. In part, meditation appears to control blood pressure by relaxing the nerve signals that coordinate the heart function, tension in blood vessels, fight or flight response that increases alertness in stressful situations. So number 12 as well, it's the last one. You can practice meditation anywhere. There's two types of different styles of meditation. There's focused attention meditation, and this concentrates attention on a single object, thought, sound, or visualization. It emphasizes reading your mind and attention and distracting it. Meditation may focus on breathing or a mantra or calming sound. Open monitoring meditation encourages the broadening awareness of all aspects of your environment. Train your thought and sense of itself. It may be becoming aware of thoughts and feelings that you have inside of you, and impulses that you might try to suppress. So that's more of a self-awareness meditation. We'll get into them a little bit later. So guys, bottom line, little tip here at the bottom: meditation is something anyone can do, and it can improve mental and emotional health. You can do it anywhere without any special equipment, no memberships needed. You just need you and your Alternatively, meditation courses are there, and there's loads of support out there. There's apps as well on your line. There's loads of different apps you can download for it. Try now. Different type of meditation suited to you is so important. So every single person has a different way of doing this, and it's about you finding the way that works for you, which means it's versatile. There's no right or wrong way, people. So we're going to now go into the 5 points that are going to help massively, you know what I mean, in terms of starting. You got the benefits there now. The benefits are there in black and white in terms of studies that they've done. And if you're not meditating, you may want to start. So I'm going to now go through these tips. Are from me, they're not from any source. But basically, when I started meditating, I found that for me, there's a lot of techniques that worked, a lot of things that didn't. And end of the day, you guys are free to experiment with this, and there's no right or wrong way. Please don't feel like you're getting it wrong. So the first one would be time. So length of meditation is so important. Length of meditation. Sorry, apologies, I just shot my phone there. Length of meditation is so important, man. It's like, because like it has to fit around your schedule. And if you're starting, you need to make it not so painful. So like a lot of people say, oh, you must wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning when no one's awake and meditate then. Like, let's be honest, if you're not waking up early, you're not going to get up early to do the meditation straight away because it's too painful. So like at first, make it fit in with the schedule you've already got. Don't try to extend it so much. What you'll find is as you get deeper into meditation, you start to see and feel the benefits. You'll start to prioritize it as a high value task in your life. And then you'll start moving other things around it. But at the start, don't do it, guys, because it's you've got to be real. You know what I mean? So the time and length of meditation is so important in terms of saying, right, okay, I'm not going to start doing a whole hour straight away. That's really sort of like, you've got to look at the aims and goals. They've got to be smart. They've got to be measurable as well in terms of like, time allocation in terms of when you can do it. So I'd always say, always pick the same time every day though. Consistency is really key. So say for example you wake up and you say, right, I want to do this in the morning, which in the morning and the evening just before you go to the bed are the best times to do it generally, because your brain is in that brainwave state where you're less likely to be thinking all these different thoughts. But obviously at the start, don't try to, if you've got too many things to do in the morning and in the evening, try to fit it in somewhere where it suits you. You know what I mean? But ideally you want to be moving it towards the morning or evening. I'd say just when you wake up, don't wake up early for it, but when you do wake up, before you do anything, try to do it then. But the thing is, if you've got kids, it can be a little bit difficult because you have to see to them first. So it may be like, even if you've got young kids, it might be when they have their nap in the morning, afternoon. That's fine. Like, just pick a time where it's not going to be interrupted though, because what you don't want to do is start and then feel like, I can't carry this through. It needs to be something that you can sort of keep a regulated consistency to. So time wise, I'd say starting off, literally just try 5 minutes at the start. Really just start small and gradually build up to where you're comfortable. Ideally you want to be sort of like at some point going towards half an hour, but that's long term goal related. At the start you really want to just sit down for 5 minutes, collect your thoughts. So make sure you do it at the same time every single day, and I would just start with 5 minutes, right? The second point would be environment, and environment is quite important in terms of where you go and do this. Generally you want to be in a calm place, not somewhere where it's chaotic. So don't like meditate in the office that you do a lot of work in, that's related to, I've got a lot of stuff to do, because like luckily my office space that I've built is for meditation as well, but there's a lot of positive things in there. I've got my books and I've got like my mantra shelf in terms of all the books I've got and positive quotes and my crystals on there, and that's sort of where I face to meditate, and that's my like personal place I go to every day. But it may be different for you. You may feel like you're really comfortable in your living room. You may feel like you want to do it in your kitchen. I don't know, like depends on you really, but where you feel comfortable, like your body will tell you. So wherever room you're in, you feel like at one, or you feel a little bit zen and chilled out, that's the place to do it. So really try to make sure you keep doing it in that same place to keep the consistency going, and like try to surround yourself with calm. So when I say calm, make sure it's tidy. You don't want to be trying to meditate in a room that's messy. You know what I mean? Because you're just going to think, I need to tidy that up. Your thoughts are going to be placed and your attention's not going to be on the meditation, because you're going to have, all this stuff around you that's messy. You know what I mean? So you want to be in an environment that you feel zen in, you know what I mean? And try to, create a clean environment. Feng Shui always says that, messy environments causes more increased stress. So yeah, try to make sure it's clean and, you feel at one in that place. Right, position as well, like body posture. I'd say starting off, just do what's comfortable. That may be laying down, I generally set up like the classic general meditation posture is sitting with your back straight, cross-legged, which is at first is so foreign. Like when I first started trying this, I felt so uncomfortable. it was so unnatural for me to do because my body posture as well, my back was quite, hunched as well because, I've not been stretching a lot. And do you know what? At the start, just try to lay down, do what's comfortable for you, because do you know what? When I first started, I didn't have that posture of sitting up straight, me being cross-legged. I really just sort of laid down and just tried to be comfortable at first. But you want to be sort of moving towards, as you start getting more comfortable with meditation, just giving it a go a little bit and easing yourself into that posture of sitting up straight. But yeah, at first I'd say lay down, and I would say just, do what's comfortable for yourself. Like, if you feel comfortable though sitting up and you can sit down, you feel good to do that, start that way. But do whatever makes you feel good. You know what I mean? This whole experience is not about doing what's right in the books and reading the book and following do what feels good for you initially. This is really trying to get you eased in, just to be able to keep calm and relaxed. Right. The next part is equipment. So there's equipment that could help you on your journey to meditate as well. So there may be some headphones, playing some really sort of nice, cool music. Eye masks as well. I find they're really good because what they do is really black out your surroundings. Because what your surroundings do is just place a lot of distraction in terms of you and what you're doing. So if you can see a certain thing, your attention is going to be on that, what you can see. What you're trying to really do is block out all your senses, if you know what I mean. And you're really just trying to find that innate centered part of yourself that's really calm, if you know what I mean. And the eye mask is a great way of blocking everything out and creating this darkness so you can sort of see within. And headphones as well, they can help massively in terms of blocking out external sounds from the world. So your senses are still engaged, but they're engaged in a different way. And what you can find on YouTube as well is sort of just relaxing naturistic sounds, you know what I mean. And what that does, it just aligns you with the frequencies of the earth, if you know what I mean. There's nothing more nice. You'll know when you go on the beach, you'll know when you go walk in nature, of the birds tweeting in the morning. There's nothing more calming than that. And the whole reason why it's so calming is because your natural frequency is resonating with the earth's natural frequency in terms of what you can hear and what you can feel, and it elicits these beautiful feelings. And that's what we want to be able to feel in meditation, that we're at one with the whole world itself, if you know what I mean. And once we feel at one with the world, we can really tap into that unlimited source of creativity and information. The next part would be exercise. So how do we actually do it? The actual exercise of meditation. And there's the different ways of this, In the last article I was reading from, there was 2 different types of meditation. And some people like to do one type in the morning and the next type at night. There's so many different variations, right? But I would say is just do what feels right for you again. All of this, again, is do what feels right for you. I think the whole part is just to start and experiment. So at first, I think guided meditations are great because what they do is just take you through, and all you have to do is listen. And literally there's guided meditations on YouTube. There's thousands on YouTube. So say for example, if you want a beginner's meditation, all you do is type in beginner's meditation, mindfulness meditation, and have a listen through them. What I'd say is have a listen through a good 10 and find a voice that suits you, because one that I like you might find the voice annoying. Some people listen to a woman, some people listen to a man. It all depends on your preference in terms of the voice and that type of frequency, because the voice is a frequency, if you know what I mean. So have a listen to a good 10 and pick and shortlist ones that just make you feel calm, you know what I mean. And then just listen to the meditation and just go through it. I mean, some are half an hour long, but some are 15 minutes long, some maybe even 10 minutes, So if you want a 10-minute short one, just type in 10-minute meditation, guided meditation. You'll get thousands that come up. Here's experimentation time. And just to have a listen every single, every time you get a chance, when you're sitting down, have a listen to ones that really speak to you. And as well, be self-aware of how you're feeling. So if you're feeling a little bit stressed, type in stress relieving guided meditation. If you're feeling a little bit anxious, type in you know what I mean, and try them out and see how they go. Breathing is another one. So breathing is so important, because breathing is the life force. It is what gives us life on this planet. How we breathe and how we control our breath can control pain. It can just, breathing is the most incredible thing. Once you learn how to harness the breath and really breathe properly, a large percentage of people on this earth aren't breathing properly and taking real short breaths in terms of what they're doing. When we start to learn how to really inhale deeply and like exhale, we can get this incredible infusion of life, man. Like Wim Hof said, it is like the life force. Yeah, so like through these guided meditations, it will take you through some of these breathing exercises as well, and they'll be massively helpful for making you calm and calm yourself down. So really try to focus on like taking like a real breath in, but always breathe through your nose and really fill the lungs up as much as you can. And then on the exhale, try to breathe out a little bit longer than what you did on the inhale, because what that does, when you exhale longer, you're basically visualizing a lot of stress coming out. So as well, visualization is a brilliant way of like, it's so powerful in meditation to what you're doing. So a lot of these guided meditations will tell you to visualize certain things. Like one of the meditations I've done is like you visualizing you like breathing in through your nose like this gold aura, and when you exhale it's like this black that comes out, and all the black is like the stress and all the bad inside of you, and it just has this profound effect when you visualize it in your mind as you're doing it. It just sort of like teaches your subconscious to really relax. And the power of visualization, like I said in my previous podcast, is so powerful. So when you incorporate that with the meditation, it can really have a powerful effect on your whole entire life. So guys, they're my 5 tips to meditation in terms of starting. And guys, I would just start straight away. And you know what? There's no right or wrong answer. And what you'll do when you start on a path of something like this, you'll start to attract the answers. You know what I mean? You'll start to attract different articles about meditation, and you'll start to see. And once you start searching for guided meditation, you'll find one that works for you. And you know, initially, I think it's just about trying to recenter yourself and relieve that stress. A lot of us live in this stressful environment nowadays. Our earth is not being built to be mindful, really. You know what I mean? We experience a lot of stress, but at the same time, like, it's how we deal with the situations that we come across. Like, life is literally like 10% of what happens and 90% of how we deal with it. And we're just not taught in the right way from an early age to be able to deal with stress in the right way. We're not. And you know what? Like, stress is the main cause for all illnesses. And we've got to look after our bodies, you know. And like, in terms of a healthy representation, meditation may be the most impactful thing you can do for your body and your mind right now, and consistently it can help you change who you are as a person to the better, you know, to be better as well, you know, not change who I don't think it's right to say, oh, you need to change. Like, take that element of who you are, a part of yourself, and sometimes it's not about changing, it's about almost finding your actual self, you know what I mean, that's been lost. You know what I mean? It's not about changing, it's about finding yourself, if you know what I mean. And meditation is a great way to be able to do that. So guys, I really hope these tips have helped you. And like, I'd like to know your experiences. So make sure you get at me on my socials at WillsWay33 or WillStar22. And guys, like I said, I really love it if you could leave me a review. And the first 5 people that leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify will get a free copy of Free Magic as well. And honestly, guys, I appreciate you. I can see this is going on along a bit. I really wanted to keep this half an hour. Then again, I love to talk, you know what I mean? But you know how it is, people. So guys, I'm sending love, I'm sending light. Hope all is blessed and keep well. And yeah, next week we've got a special guest, which I'll be revealing real soon. So keep it locked, people. Keep it love. In the quantum, I've been searching in the quantum,